This is part 2 of our radio show about electronic surveillance.
The voice of the people rule. As long as they're not doing anything dangerously bad, like, assaulting each other, we're not going to put up the military. We have the freedom to assemble. We have the rights as American citizens. But other people will not stand up for those rights. They'll just waive it. And again, people who are able to fight for their freedom will lose it. That's my personal opinion.
Guess what the 15 companies are that own Google? It's an umbrella corporation called Alphabet Inc., Verily, Microsoft Corporation, Apple, Amazon, Calico, Berkshire Hathaway, DeepMind, Google Nest, Uber, Johnson & Johnson, IBM, Verizon, and Goldman Sachs.
So in that,
they all are a powder. They all own Google.
So you've got Jeff Bezos in there. You've got Bill Gates, Microsoft. Bezos would be the Amazon. Berkshire Hathaway is Warren Buffett. You pretty much got the cabal of people who want to rule the world and vaccinate everyone and chip us and control our every move and act like they're helping us because they're good people.
Well, thank you for that. Was very insightful, John. Let's turn to Joe for a minute because I'm not sure how long he wants to stay on the air. Joe, go ahead and you fill in your commentary now based on what John said.
Yeah, I disagree with what he said with regards to people who deserve to be, those who are sheep deserve to be slaughtered. No. You underestimate the propaganda of the public school system and the educational system in general. If you ever read a book, I forgot the woman's name anyway, she used to work in the Department of Education. She was there when people were thinking out loud about deliberately dumbing down the population back in probably, I think, around the 70s. I don't blame people for being brainwashed. We all were or are at some time. And those who can get out of the matrix, I say more power to them. But you can't forget that the government has been telling us ever since we've been kids that the government is our friend. The government has the responsibility to take care of us. The government has the responsibility of providing for us what we don't have if we're poor. So consequently, people are growing up with the idea, well, whatever the government says, since they're there to protect us, should be okay. So I don't blame people for being still in the matrix, as it were.
Like yes, they kind of look up to government, especially in election years. And for my friend right now who was working 30 hours a week at Taco John's and is now getting $1,000 a week unemployment, he's liking the government right now.
Of course. They want to influence the election so that immigrants and the lower working class will vote for them, because otherwise they know that Trump will win in the landslide. So they're doing it this way. But yes, people who do not fight for their freedom will lose it. But people don't know that their freedom is at stake. Everybody thought that if martial law was going to come to America, it would be wrapped in a flag and it would come the way that it did in Germany or in Russia, maybe in one fell swoop, and people would then take their guns and then fight the power. But it's not being done that way. It's being done under medical tyranny, under telling us it's for our own safety, and then they're couching it, not by, well, now they're getting a little bit more direct, but at the beginning it was, well, don't worry about the virus. It's not so bad. Look at what the virus is doing. We were kind of wrong. Maybe all of you should do social distancing. Now maybe you should do mask and social distancing. Now maybe within your own house, you have to practice social distancing. Maybe now there will be a new normal in order to protect yourselves from this virus, of which epidemiologists say this thing isn't as bad as the government says it is. There are epidemiologists and virologists who say it's bad, others say it's not. So who do you believe? I don't know who to believe, but I do know the history of our United States because I guess you could classify me as a conspiracy theorist, but I go by declassified documents. In other words, the government ratting out itself, confessing to its own crimes. So when it does that, I know the history of what our government will do to our people. I also know the power of its brainwashing. But, you know, that's the way it
do you
goes.
think they're really going to rat themselves out or just morph it to a higher level cause?
No, they ratted themselves out because of the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, which took one particular congressman, I think his name was Gross. It took him 11 years to get that act through Congress. He is the most unsung hero of Congress in the history of the United States. Because without the FOIA, we would know shit about what the government's doing.
Good point.
And even though there's a law that says if you're going to use FOIA to get documents from the government, they're supposed to give it to you within 30 days. But yet, the Judicial Watch and what's the other one?
John, you should be able to know Judicial Watch and who.
Yeah, Judicial Watch takes years to get documents, and the other one, the personal lawyer.
Watch is Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch.
It's Tom Fitton. It's Tom Fitton. But the other one, the lawyer for Trump, I forgot his name, takes him years too.
Michael Cohen?
No, the other one. The one that has a talk show, the one that shows up on talk shows all the time.
Sean Hannity?
No, it's not Giuliani.
Okay.
No. Anyway, he'll come to me as soon as I hang up. But it takes him years. It takes him thousands of dollars in court appearances to get what the government promises us within 30 days. Now, when you add up, I don't have 24 karat gold, solid, smoking gun proof that the government is perpetrating this or has perpetrated other certain atrocities. But I connect the dots. And I'm thinking, my liberties are at risk, my freedom, my body, my rights, and it's not the mob that's doing it to me. It's the government. So back to you guys.
May I just ask you one personal question of the whole night? You kind of have an East Coast accent, but you live in South Dakota, and I was wondering if you were a lawyer.
I live in Montana. That area code is from South Dakota.
Okay, cool.
Well, one thing.
Go ahead, Don, because you haven't talked much lately.
Oh, Sid, that's all right. I agree with the caller, Joe, on a lot of things. It's just that he's under representing the mob because the government is the mob. Right now, we've got a mobster leader who is really doing business like the mob. And so, there's all kinds of similarities in that. So I just want
the mob wouldn't take Trump. He has an ill-reputed reputation.
The mob, that's because he controls some of the mob. He's got labor. He uses labor.
And why did the Taj Mahal go under?
Well, that's because his bad judgment in the area that he was building in. Trump was famous for wanting to, and I'm sorry, I've used this real name, Trump, is really a slumlord. He's a slumlord. He's been that way. He's been sued so many times for discrimination in his New York facilities, but he's known to build in...
Somebody's cackling in the background, like metal, or maybe, John, it's your car keys while you're biking. I don't know.
I'm actually on mute on my phone, so it can't be me.
Okay, well, someone who's ever making the noise, could you slow it down? And we also have an unknown caller that I'm going to bring in soon. It's probably Singapore Mark.
Okay, but Trump.
Oh, I know him.
But
you know
Trump,
Singapore Mike?
A lot of people.
Yeah, I've heard him on other shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Dane.
I think he gets paid by, as John would say it, he must get paid by the deep state, because we had another lady named Suzette on our show that knew him.
And there was another guest who knew Mike too, that we had a few months. Yeah. But anyway, all I wanted to say.
We'll let you finish, John. We'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. The only thing I was.
Keep it up.
You were talking about.
Yeah,
you were talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, Don did a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. He works for Bill Gates now, and he's limited to what he can say.
I don't work
then I don't blame you. I understand his point of view perfectly. Yeah.
Don likes to rant on Donald Trump while he supports the party of China. He supports the party of Joe Biden.
No.
Not exactly, John.
No.
You don't think so?
That's how they do. That's how they do. The Republicans, they turn things around. There's no way that the Democratic Party is for China itself. It's for global.
Come on, are you kidding?
Feinstein, Pelosi.
Hey, Joe, can I tell you something? Don's wife is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, guys. Don's wife is the chapter chair of the Reno Sparks NAACP, and Don's a lobbyist in the legislature, and he's a. And I'm not saying that he's a complete liberal. I'm not saying that.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And his mother was the first black cop in Milwaukee, which is commendable.
Well, that's my mom. But bottom line is that I've done more than anyone. But the thing is, though,
that's true. You've met everybody: Cory Booker, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and everybody else.
I'm talking about from eons ago. I was.
You met Dick Gregory when he was under 10 years old.
I would have liked to have met Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory came to Milwaukee to fight for the Milwaukee 14, the priest that burned the draft card and spent a year in federal prison. Let me bring Singapore Mike in, or the unknown caller. Okay, just a moment, please. Who's calling, please?
First of all, how are you, Jane?
Hi, Singapore Mike. Now, we weren't dissing you, but we're not dissing you, Mike, but a guy on the air, Joe, knows you, he said.
Yeah.
Joe? Okay, that's fine. I don't care. You know what you want to do.
Are you an international star like Ryan Seacrest?
Yeah.
God.
Okay, let's go back on track. Joe, you can start the discussion this time because I got you guys off track.
Well, no, Don was finishing up about his, about his.
I think you go.
Well, hang on, Singapore Mike. We have a special guest on tonight, and we like him. We like you too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Joe,
thank you.
Are you saying that some people? Yeah. Joe, what are you trying to say with Don, that you think he's tainted already because he lives in Reno and works for Microsoft, or what are you trying to say?
What the heck?
Well, yes, it kind of works. He's kind of a lobbyist.
Wait, Don!
I kind of think.
Jane, you just putting people's words in people's mouths. Go ahead.
You're damn straight. I'm a columnist in Duluth, and I work for a commie paper called the Duluth Reader. Okay, anybody can talk who wants. I'll be quiet for a while.
Go ahead. What was Joe going to say? Because I think I finished what I was talking about.
Yeah, I'll finish too. I just wait for Singapore Mike. He'll take up another 5 minutes, and then we can chime in.
Okay, well,
that's not very nice, Joe.
He He knows them already.
Well, okay, I was being nice. Usually he takes up time.
Hey, Joe, I have wealthy Republican relatives in Montana. They own
good. Well, Montana's the best state.
They own a company called 2M. I'm not sure what they did, but they took the name off of 3M because they're from Minnesota, and they're wealthy, but they're older. I won't state their name, though.
All right. Don't forget, Montana has the second lowest death rate due to coronavirus next to South Dakota. Oh, maybe you're third now.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up because 3 counties in Minnesota petitioned the Minnesota governor to reopen because they only have 3 cases, like in a 200-mile landmass, like going in every direction. Right. So it's like, what the fuck? We don't want to stay closed forever.
Well,
can I say this before Mike jumps in?
Mike, you can go next after Joe.
Okay. I want to say, because you were talking about Minnesota, and you're talking about, did you hear about the guidelines in Tennessee where they're telling the parishioners, you can't even laugh, you cannot chant out loud the hymns if you get together in church, because that is supposedly spreading the germs faster than just talking. Now, is that or is that not taking away our rights? And I'll go back
I'll
let Singapore Mike go ahead. Okay,
Mike, you can chime in now. We didn't mean to dish you. Go ahead.
You ready? Yeah. All right.
Okay. First of all, our message to the people is love, unity, and peace. I mean, yes, some people don't like it. That's fine. But some people really like it. And what's wrong with that? I mean, we say that we, Americans, we must, get together and in harmony and peace. What's wrong with that? Is it unreasonable?
Well, we're talking about more darker things right now, like why are they backing up electronically? Why are there alarms on people's doors in Europe and they can't leave their houses, stuff like that?
Okay. First of all, when technology advances, I mean, you have in your car your GPS system. Every time you want to go a place, you put your XYZ address or location, and GPS telling you where to go. So, so if it's bad, don't use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. But millions of people around the globe are using it. So, it's a matter that if the people want technology or people they need to be like Amish. So that's up to them. If you want to be an Amish and use it, very well. You have a choice.
Mike,
I mean, otherwise you will use it, and technology changes daily. Daily, I mean, whatever you buy today is old already, because tomorrow a new thing it will arrive. So therefore, it's up to the people again. So, bottom line, in Massachusetts, Probation Services Electronic Monitoring (ELMO) program was first established in April 2001 as an alternative to incarceration and to provide structure, control, accountability for probationers who were sentenced to house arrest by the judge. So that tool used to, instead of
70s and 80s, when we started buying everything.
I had to skip to the next call. It was too loud.
Well, it's not only that. Don't forget that Clinton gave China some military secrets. I'd like to jump in and comment on that, but I don't want to step on Singapore's time.
No, everybody's going to give each other a fair shake. We're used to having him on our show, and everybody interacts with each other.
But the thing is that I definitely
don't be funny. Go ahead, Don.
I definitely have a feeling that this is an imported to China virus. John, corroborated some of the things that I had been listening to about the Chinese professor developing it. Right there near Harvard, and then in Canada, and the Chinese brought him back home quickly.
Whenever crackling the phone, stop, please.
Okay.
Unless you're the NSA.
But it is the NSA. What are you talking about? But for the most part, I believe that it was imported to China, and they let it out. So I don't.
Yeah.
I would take that probably more than maybe 60% of probability, in my opinion.
I agree. Jane, do me a favor. I'm going to be moving around the wire on my earbuds to see if it's me that's doing the crackling. So you should mute me.
So like you're using like something that looks like a Bluetooth?
No. I'm using a regular phone and I'm using regular earbuds, but it may be me because I'm moving around the wire, and the wire may be doing the crackling for some reason. So it may be me for some reason.
Yeah, because sometimes I transfer my show to YouTube and I need good sound.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. What he's doing.
So,
but the question is, Catherine Albright is a consumer privacy.
Go ahead, Mike.
What I wanted to say, Mike, before you jump in, I wanted to let Jane know that she should mute me to find out for sure if it's me, and then she can let me know, and then I'll try to do something about it.
Okay, I'll go back over to the computer and I'll mute you. Mike, go ahead. I'll mute him while this is happening.
Thank you very much, Jane, my dear. Catherine Albright is a consumer privacy expert and co-founder and director of CASPIAN, Consumer Against Supermarket Privacy, Invasion, and Numbering, a national consumer organization created in 1999 to educate consumer citizens about shoppers' surveillance. Ms. Albright is widely recognized as one of the world's leading experts on consumer privacy. She regularly speaks on the consumer privacy and civil liberties and impacts of technology.
You're kind of reading from Wikipedia.
I mean, she has a radio show, very nice. I mean, she.
No, what I'm saying is consumer privacy rights, like how many times they can call your house, getting on Do Not Call List. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I'm talking about.
It was you who was doing the crackling.
It was me?
Yeah.
Shit, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Is this better?
Find a better method. I'm using a old school land phone.
Yeah, all right. Is this better now?
Are you using your cell phone or a land phone?
Cell.
It's better.
Okay.
It's better, John.
Okay, yeah, it's better now. Go ahead,
all right,
Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead,
anyway,
Mike.
I mean, that's it. Privacy, and she is Catherine Albright.com. It's her website, and so basically.
Well, that's one of the things I asked at the beginning of the show. A, how much does this affect us? B, what is the intensity of people's rights being violated? Think about it. One of my friends is a beauty shop owner, and now Governor Walz just extended Minnesota's deadline again till May 18th. People can go in the beauty shop and buy shampoo, but they can't do any services like eyebrows or hair, blah, blah, blah. When is this going to end? And who's going to make the choices, and how does it affect us?
Your life has changed. Listen to the last 3 or 5 shows, and I have more or less used it as a conclusion as that we should be very, very vigilant on what happens after we come out of this pandemic. This security issue is going to be supreme. And the people, it's going to have two sides of the story. People like me who more or less started the marches and the protests against freedom, lack of freedom and pro-justice, or people like yourself, and I deal with them a lot. That's why we don't have some of the things that I've lobbied for, but we do have some things that I've lobbied for, and that's privacy. And we are not we're not in a position to determine yet what the balance is. And that's why I would have to be cautious, then go a full bore and say, okay, I'll open up my panties so you can see everything. I don't know if you guys remember or have seen the commercial. Sarah, the little girl who posted things on whatever it was, Snapchat or Facebook, whatever. The post, I guess, the color of her panties, whatever. And everybody in town, all the guys, and it's a popular commercial.
And how old is she?
She's like 15.
Okay.
And she goes on there and posts this stuff, and all these guys, and then, some of them are portrayed as perverts, but some of them aren't. And they're just saying, hey, what kind of panties are you wearing today, and stuff like that. And it's a really trippy commercial. And I don't understand why people don't understand that all this stuff comes out eventually, even if you've got your private Facebook. And I don't know about these things. I'm just learning.
Well, that brings up a point. John, are you still with us? John?
Yes, I am. Yes,
okay, did you guys know every single picture you take from your phone, even the ones you delete, are saved on Google? They're in your Google photo drive. So let's say you take 5 crappy selfies, or you take 5 sexy pictures for your boyfriend in Colorado. Google saves them, so someone can see it.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't want
Google Play. Yeah.
Don't make any
Google Play Drive.
Here's a question for Dawn.
I'm not on social media. I'm not. Yeah. Go ahead, John.
Neither am I.
But every move you make goes into the cloud, and they have all that information no matter what. Every email, every text, every picture. That's what the FBI was struck in Page are finding out. And this stuff is being released regarding the Admiral Flynn case, which they'll probably drop the case this week or next week.
Yeah.
General Flynn. Yeah. Now, but here's the thing to ask Dawn, and that is, if Trump is so such a tool, how come he's the only one standing up against the World Health Organization? How come he's the only one putting tariffs on China? Or how come he's accused of being the xenophobe when in February, when Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and Schumer, they were all accusing him of being xenophobic. Well, Nancy's saying, come to Chinatown. She's we're surrounded by Asians. You could come and have fun here with us. It's safe.
I saw that press conference.
So Donald Trump is the only one standing up against this stuff. He's the only one calling it out.
Donald Trump
He's the one calling it the China virus.
Losing, first of all, he knows the reason he's not pushing more is because he knows something. And I think he knows that the virus was developed either in China or here, was brought here, and then it was let go by the Chinese scientists, along with the white scientists, and then or it was brought in by the military because they had just had the winter, summer World Games.
The exercises.
And,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a good possibility that somebody in the military or somebody in the games would have brought it back into America, from China to America. But there's all kinds of scenarios that could be. But my thing is that he is losing points and polling because he's looking like what he is. He can just barely read, and his image is going when he doesn't have the momentum that he needs. So this is a campaign fiasco for him right now.
Well, I'm agreeing with you in terms of the privacy matters. With regards to Trump, the polls are usually skewed if they're not the Gallup and Pew polls. And when you take a look at the other polls, which have been around for decades, Trump is doing very well in the polls, not just in the States, but he is gaining on millennials and he is gaining on black people who are coming along and seeing what his economic policies are like. And most people are not going to be blaming him for the coronavirus. He's the one that brought the comfort over to New York State. He's the one that took the other ship, I forget the name, and took it over to Newsom. They're the ones begging Trump for help, while at the same time, once they get the help, they start disparaging Trump all over again, like he's not doing anything. Now, I did not vote for Trump. I happen to like Trump, but I'm not a follower of any leader, so-called leader, unless their policies are working for me. He may or may not be working for Russia, China, or the Illuminati. I don't know. And he may be a person who genuinely loves America. The thing is, I too have my own particular questions, like why isn't he doing more to get rid of the deep state? But he has. He's fired people, and then he got criticized for firing them. He got criticized for hiring them, and they came from either Goldman Sachs or they came from people related to other people who are alumni of Goldman Sachs. So, he can't, the guy can't win. He can walk on water, and they'll say he can't swim. So he's trying the best he can, I'm hoping. But who knows? He may be a Manchurian candidate because, again, our government has a history of deceiving our people very well and very lethally. And back to you guys. What happened?
Hello?
Did my app go off? Oh, I hear you, Jane.